Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the pre-council to order for our regular meeting of December the 7th, 2021. I think all of you have the agenda in front of you. Number one would be a call to order, standard. Invocation. Is anyone wanting to do it? I'll do it tonight, I guess. Go to roll call. Looks like everyone's here. The agenda is next. Has everyone had a chance to look over the agenda? If you would, on item D, discussion and consideration of the contract with Kara Stallman. I talked with her and told her the discussion that I had with Mr. Skelton and Mr. Little after the meeting, and she agreed to that. And somehow, I don't know, she got confused on what she sent over for us tonight. I called her today. She asked that we just table that. If you'll notice, the amount was a little more, and was what I had told her was if she was to do some work for the water board, that we might look at discussing the water board next Monday night about paying some monthly fees for her to research those type grants and all to help make up some more money. But the agreement from the city was $1,250, as we had all agreed on the night of it, and she said it was a mistake on her part. So we just, if it's okay, I would like to lay that over so we can straighten that out. I think, like I said, she just put that together instead of it being under one contract, because that's a little more than we had all agreed on the other night. So D will be tabled until the next meeting.
Somebody gonna make that motion?
I will.
We'll need a second on that from Mr. Little.
I can handle it.
Thank you, Jason. So Randy and Jason. Okay. Next thing on the agenda was the minutes from the past meeting.
I can handle that.
Second.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, I don't think we have any recognitions for tonight. Visitors. I see we have some of our regulars that are here in the audience tonight. I don't know if you were planning to approach Mr. Presnall, or you having, okay. Ms. Callan. Okay. Dr. Walters, and you having anything?
Oh, no, sir, I don't have anything great to reveal, but I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. And Heather, there was nobody that's called to indicate they were going to show up? Okay. And hopefully it'll be quiet through the holidays. We're moving on along pretty good. The mayor's report. We'll go into a little more detail, but I would really like to express a great thanks tonight to many volunteers in the city over the last year that I've been in office. We couldn't make it without them, but when the holidays have came up here at the city hall last week, James and some of the guys were helping the ladies here in the office. Trish really worked hard also. Randy down here, his wife and daughter, came up and both helped the other night. Next door in the library, if y'all have had a chance to look, Tiffany and those ladies over there have that really looking nice. Steve and the guys over at the water board have done a good job. We're real proud of Baldwin Square, and then the Steel Creek Lodge was decorated extremely nice. I hope some of y'all had a chance or opportunity to see that for that Grinch. That was Mr. Phillips' daughter. Spent about a whole week there with several others, and I just think that turned out very nice. So hopefully y'all had a chance to see that. So thanks to all of those, the workers and the volunteers, the SCDO and all the people. I think the event at the square Saturday was nice. The parade was real nice. I've heard a lot of compliments on it. So to all those who put time and effort into it, thank you very much. I do appreciate that. The Kara Stallman thing we've already discussed. We'll table until next week. Last week's Allen with Civil Southeast came out to have the drawings that he had completed. I think they call it the 30% drawings, on Jason, regarding the project on the sidewalks. Mr. Phillips came by, spoke with him. He's made several phone calls to me over the last few weeks regarding those. So that is moving forward. Without bringing it up in the council meeting tonight, Tom, you want to give a little quick about from Robbie on the Go Mesa grant? I know they did come out and do an inspection, and
That's all I've heard from them, and I did tell them that we needed an update on the actual Bo Mesa, the other projects. He had stated that they had done some surveying and takeoffs. That's all he's told us so far. He did inspect he looked at the pavilion, pointed out half a dozen items that were problematic. I don't know if they're wanting to bring an engineer to look at it, see if they.
well, they're recommending bringing in a structural engineer to look at that building to see if it's worth trying to do any renovation, or if it would just have to be torn down, or whatever. And I guess we're going to have to decide at that time exactly what the intent is. Is it to try to do any renovation on that building that's there, to try to salvage any of it, to make it a classroom, to just totally tear it down? If we do, then you know the elevations and some of those things are regarding it, making a classroom there. We're going to probably have to move it up the hill or do something or build it way up, because it's just not going to meet the floodplain. So anyway, they did come out and they did look at it. So I've asked them to try to keep us apprised monthly on what they're doing and moving forward. So
Did you have a meeting with them?
I was not here with the meeting when they came out. No.
Okay, I just didn't know how you knew that information, but.
He sent in an email. I guess when we get the email Monday. Got it yesterday.
If he's not gonna come out and present that to us, can you forward me the email so I can, see what's going on? That was
Sure.
one of my questions I had, was how was the Go Mesa grant going?
I specifically told him we needed him to update y'all tonight. So I don't know if that means he's going to get to the next council meeting. I think he should come up here in person and tell us what, all the different stages of the job and how they're progressing, and more information on the pavilion, because I think the pavilion needs to be torn down. He said something about it flooded. Has there ever been water on top of that thing?
There's been water in it, I think is what he said. He showed. And
But as far as of all the high waters we've gotten over the years, I don't recall water ever getting in. I mean, it's leaked, like I said. But as far as having to raise it up in the air any higher, I'm not, unless y'all know something I know. We could get the surveyor who did the survey out there to at least give us an elevation certificate.
we may need an elevation certificate on it.
I mean, since we're paying them, is that part of what we pay them for, is that for them to give us updates?
Well, I don't know if it specifically tells what kind of updates they're gonna give us, but I think it's only fair that they're gonna spend $1 million, at least that'll tell us how it's going.
I called them last month. I asked them to start trying to give us an update on what they're doing. They said they were doing something, but we never knew.
You know, like an
Exactly
outline or
what-
timeline or something where we can be like, hey, well, how's this coming along, you know, and keep them accountable for it.
That's what I told him, that we was really hoping by the first of the year we could have something in motion. It's a time frame of what we're looking for.
Sure.
So, He did come out one day back in October, and Tom and I met with him, and that's when I did tell him that we were really not satisfied with the information we're getting on what they're doing. He said they were doing stuff, but none of us were ever apprised of what they were doing, so. So we will do that. Please make sure you forward the email over to Ms. Reese in the morning, if you would.
Hey, on that same note, just where we won't have to go back over it again, I just was concerned, are we still gonna try to close the lodge and try to do that project as far as the renovating and stuff here? And wasn't that coming up in the next month or two, or a few months?
That's the plans we got right now. We've contacted everybody that needs to be contacted, and I keep calling them just to keep reminding them what the time schedule is. I got the final orders in, on the plumbing equipment and the kitchen equipment and the order dates. I just got some invoices today that I'll give to the council. We have to pay some money down on some of this stuff.
So
Can we see a list of what the kitchen equipment is, Tom?
The total,
Do we know what we're buying?
oh, everything, yeah.
Have we unordered that stuff?
Hopefully tomorrow.
I'm sorry?
We will tomorrow.
Do you have a new drawing with the hallway going down the line to the kitchen?
It's something y'all wanna look at and contemplate, yeah. I have that drawing that you guys, that you wanted to change up.
It's just embarrassing to have people go into the restroom right off the dinner hall, and, and if people wanted to come from the kitchen to the front, they could go through that hallway.
Well, there is a small lobby where you would go through a doorway into a room about 6 feet square. And there's a door on each side that opens up into the bathrooms, but they open up reverse, so you never see into the restrooms. It's either that or lose. If we were to put a hallway all the way across the back like we did the little drawing, we lose a lot of square footage just for a hallway. I mean, that hallway is 26 feet long, 4 feet wide, so there's 100 square feet of hallway that comes out of those bathrooms.
The bathrooms are really big. I've never been in there when there's been more than myself or another person.
Well, now they're to be smaller.
Right, I mean, the size I don't think is a problem, losing some
You know,
space.
this is y'all's decision on that one. I'll get y'all a copy of both plans. I'll send them out email and you can.
What if we let Ms. Reese and maybe one or two of the others get together with you and see if we can't just get this in gear? So the next meeting, if we need to buy or pay for anything, because like Mr. Little just said, a month from now, we're talking about closing the lodge to do the repairs, and I'm not convinced that we're ready to do that.
That was just my point. I didn't want to keep it dragging on, but I mean, if we, I was down there and spent a little time, Saturday, and it's just, the need is there, especially in the kitchen and,
We went out there already. We've been with Tom out there, and Randy came, and I think Trish came. Did you come, Heather? And then Crystal was there. We were all there. I just want to make sure it doesn't get done and we don't miss the opportunity to make it a more functional space.
I just knew we was coming up, like you say, on this month or two out, that we was gonna close.
Tom, we need to have the people scheduled. We need to go ahead and get a contract. Okay,
There's labor and there's equipment. The labor's been scheduled.
okay.
I can only.
Well, like,
Everybody who's promised to be there is gonna be there. And the only material we're having to order is the kitchen equipment, local supplier here in town, and the toilets and the commodes, which are all shelf items at Ferguson Supply. We've already called them, sent them over a materials list, they've given us the price, they've assured us that you just make a phone call and we'll have them delivered. And like I said, all the labor has been scheduled and coordinated, but we're a month and a half out, and all along you guys don't forget about January. Our intention is to get in there on January 1st and do the demo work and put the plumbing in within 2 days. And then the electrical. So, I don't know what else to tell you.
Tom, is that kitchen equipment, industrial equipment, is it electric, gas, or what are we ordering?
Well, the only thing in the kitchen that you might consider equipment is the stove. And we're putting in a 60-inch stainless steel electric stove with, I think it's got 6 burners on it, and and 2 others.
Is it industrial or residential?
Oh, it's all industrial equipment.
And any warmers ordered, microwaves?
All that stuff is just stock items, yeah. It's on the list. The ice maker, the refrigerator, there's 3-compartment sink, 2-compartment sink, and a half a dozen tables, hand wash sink, all that stuff.
You say you have the labor and materials, but if you're not changing the floor plan, you wouldn't be prepared for that. So since we are changing the floor plan, I mean,
It won't affect what they're doing. I mean, it's either tear a wall down or don't tear a little wall down. There's very minimal demolition work going in on this. And if we go with the hallway, they just need to put up a little bit more wall. Like I said, we're a month out right now. And I've done all the talking to I can. I was on the phone with 2 different contractors today, you know, and yeah, I'm good. So let's hope that they come through.
I haven't gotten an email from you, so,
I don't know what else to tell you at this point.
okay. I mean,
There's no committee, it's just me working on this.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I mean, honestly, we might need to
Make a committee.
hire like a project manager or somebody, you know, to that effect to handle the job. Because, I mean, I don't know how much, you know, that Tom's, if you know where I'm coming from, as far as being, you know, working on, or, you know, wanting to work on this project as much. I mean, he might not, but
Somebody's gonna need to be there every day, hour or 2 a day or more, just to monitor, to keep the ball rolling. I can go ahead and order the plumbing fixtures, the ceramic tile, and any electrical and get all that lined up. But then when the time comes, there will be making sure it all happens. I've talked to the 2 different contractors that we haven't chosen one yet. They're willing to do all that. I just need to tell them to maybe update me on the price. And I would hand it over to them and say, look, you're in charge of ordering the materials, anything, you know, like the material list from Andrews Hardware, for example, you know, there's a half a dozen pieces of sheet rock and a handful of 2x4s and just odds and ends. You'd be responsible for that.
Tom, do you have a set of prints? Have you got a set of prints drawn or what they go do?
Yeah.
I'd love to see them.
I mean, it's just drawing the kitchen floor.
Well, I'd like to see the layout. Is there an island in the center?
Like I said, there's never been a committee, there's never been anybody.
Well, let's appoint one tonight so we can sit down and get this, you know?
I'd like to be on the committee.
Okay, why don't we let 3 of the members, Mr. Little, you've expressed interest, Allison, you have, Mr. Phillips. I mean, I'm fine with letting the 3 of y'all meet. Y'all okay with that? Jason, Mr. Butler, myself are all fine. Whenever y'all can arrange a time to get with Tom, and y'all have my support, whatever we need to do, if we need to do something, but let's make sure that we have the project ready to go. And, I mean, that lodge is, I mean, I know we sit and say it over and over, but anybody that's down there on a good, pretty weekend, I don't care, year-round, that place is packed. So,
I just sent an email back to the door people about ordering those back doors to be replaced. We're going to be ordering the mini blinds. We need to pick out a paint color, so when one of the guys that is working on the project is a painter, and he'll just handle painting the inside of the lodge, things like that.
You ordered mini blinds?
No need to order.
You need to, okay, don't order any mini blinds. After the committee meets.
Well, all I can tell you, your committee's gonna meet, if you don't meet within the next day or 2, you know, some of these things take
Tom,
several
we've been
weeks.
asking you the whole time.
hey, with all
Whatever.
due respect, I mean, it's not,
Not my
Tom,
job. I mean,
yeah, Tom's,
No, I don't know who's in charge, but
this project was just handed to me, and I've been handling it, and nobody else has put any input in it. other than you asking about the hallways and stuff like that, so I certainly don't want anybody coming to me at this point in time saying, well, I didn't know that. Okay, committee, I've got tons of information, paperwork, drawings, a list of equipment, everything that's going in that place. And I'm sure I have. I'd be more than happy to, meet anybody. But it's kind of hard to do when you just send an email and a picture and a phone call and an update.
No,
Everybody's on the same page.
It'll be require in-person meeting, I'm sure of that, for y'all to do that.
So do they have to do anything special legally to form the committee?
If it's just three of them, I don't think they do. Just go look at it, right?
If y'all want to, you could just vote to have a committee, but I don't think
I don't know, that's one thing.
you have to.
I didn't think we did either just for three of y'all to go. Are you gonna try to schedule something with the others?
Sure.
We had a planning board the other night, on Thursday night. There was nothing really big. Like I told y'all, we do have several homes under construction. I was hoping you could start making a monthly report so they could see how many houses we have under construction, Tom and all, and so maybe in the future, if you could, help get started on that, just to let them see the,
I did just
what
send
we
an
have.
email the other day with the updated list.
Right, it was in a couple of weeks ago, but, right, so, like, for the first council meeting of the month, we got a police report, a fire report,
I sent it Friday.
so, okay. Well, we just have a pretty good bit of construction going on, in case y'all haven't, or out looking, so we have several lots being cleared also right now.
D.R. Horton has pulled a total of 10 permits now. So they're ready to, there's going to be a lot of work needing to be done over there. They're supposed to start clearing those lots.
I think everything else I've got on this will be covered in the items or by one of the council members, so that's all I have under the mayor's report. Mr. Little?
Mayor, I'm not gonna have too much. I think I can handle this now, since I don't think we need to vote on it or anything. It's just a matter of information, but back when we took office, we mentioned changing from year to year from mayor pro tem. I forgot, we a meeting or two over, but my year is up, and we can change over to Mr. Butler, I guess, if we don't just go down the line, ever how y'all want to do that, but just a matter of information there, if that's,
We just need to do a resolution to change the mayor pro tem. And then bank cards, all signature cards will have to be re-signed again. So we can settle that.
that's all. I was just a few other announcements, but that's basically it.
Okay. Is that all, Randy?
That's, yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Butler?
All right, I've got and the fire department, we got the calls for the month of November. We got 86 calls. There were 63 calls for the EMS, 23 calls for the fire, and the mutual aid, we got 9 of those. And, on vacation, on vacation, I'll be gone until December the 7th till December the 31st. I'll miss one council meeting because I've got 2 boys, and every week I stay with one of them, one at a time. So anyhow, I was going to say that. And also, I want to say, tell everybody that I hope we have holidays, and I hope that everybody is safe. So other than that, I don't have anything else.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Mr. Skelton?
I don't have anything at this time.
Moving along, Ms. Reese?
I don't have anything right now.
Moving right on along, Mr. Phillips?
Mayor, all I have in Public Works is the day duties we do, I can go over that at the regular council meeting. But I would like to, and I don't know if we need to amend the agenda or just schedule this for the next meeting. I would like to bring up on the payouts we did to the employees. I feel like there's a couple employees that were excluded that I'd like to discuss and see about adding them to it. Now, we can do that tonight, or we can, by changing the agenda, or we can put it on the next meeting, yes, whatever the council would like to do.
I'm at the pleasure of the council. I would like to ask, I guess, along those lines, with the holidays falling the way they are this year, I was going to try to see if we could make sure that we scheduled all the city business that we could by, the 22nd of this month, and making the 24th through the following week. I just don't think there's going to be a lot happening, so I was hoping we wouldn't have any meetings or workshops or anything on that week, it being the last week of the year, so that way we could allow some of the people to take off some during the holidays. It's generally pretty slow, as we know, or traditionally have been. Hopefully, with the weather and all, it will be this year. So we got a meeting tonight, the 7th, and we got the 21st would be the next meeting. I guess if you're wanting to discuss some of these things, the only time that I know would be available would be next Tuesday for a workshop, if that's what you're saying.
No, I want to bring it up at a council meeting, either tonight or the next one, and I'm fine either way.
Well, you brought it, you here, that's, if you want to, go ahead.
Looks like we'll have time. We're only 6
Yeah,
minutes in.
Go
and
ahead.
what I want to bring up is, I think everybody got paid, but we did have three people, part-time people, Tom Breland, James Elmore, and Vicky. And I felt like they were excluded. They was here the whole time of COVID. They did retire, but they've been here part-time since then. And I think that they deserve what they got, they should be included in that. And they weren't paid, so I wanted to get the council's opinion on that.
I think that's right.
I checked the list and they're not on it,
Right, now, they wasn't here full-time during that whole time, so.
We discussed at a workshop October the 12th that they were 1099 employees, only W-2 employees were being.
Heather, we paid employees that's no longer employed here
But they were
money
in the parameters.
that weren't even employed when we paid these checks. So we paid people that ain't even employees with the city.
All the people that got paid, Mr. Phillips, were within the parameters that y'all set.
But they're supposed to be employees, and these are part-time. And this discussion is not for you, Heather. This is for this council to discuss whether or not they're entitled to the money.
She's the one that handled paying people.
I know she did, and I felt like they were missed.
We had a discussion because I sat in that chair right there where
That's
Jay's
right.
sitting, and it was pretty clear, and I have zero issue with any of the three that you mentioned.
Yeah, and I don't either. That's the reason I mentioned them.
But it was brought up that night that it was W-2 employees.
I never heard W-2. I heard contract. We talked about contract employees.
We talked about having to pay the water board and the library board as a contractor.
Right, and we talked about the chief being contract, and
Chief is a
James and
W-2
them.
employee.
Right, but I never heard the W-2 mentioned.
It was on there.
Well, I'd like to see it,
It's on video.
and like I say, and I don't think we should exclude them.
I'm just asking, I'm just answering how we got there. So that's all I was doing. So
Well, are you asking that they be compensated
I am, as a part-time employee, which is what they're doing.
as a part-time employee?
Yeah, on the part, they're not full-time.
So therefore, if we checked in the hours they worked, then whatever they fell into, whatever
That's right,
category they.
whichever category,
So if it was a,
whether it's 500 or the 2,500. I don't know their total hours.
I mean, I don't think any of them would be qualified for 2,500 or 5,000.
I don't know, yeah.
But
With that though, is there anyone else that we didn't include that would fall under that? Because we can't just do it for 3 if there's others.
It's the only 3 I know of.
Do you know of any others that
I don't know of any.
fall in?
Yeah, but that's why I would
Yes, ma'am.
like for,
Just told it wasn't my business, so.
You okay, baby?
that's why I would like for Heather to respond, because I don't know myself, and somebody with a little more knowledge of at least what we done, I would like to know, because I'll sit here and tell you, I don't know if that's the case or not. But we need to, like you say, do everybody the same if that's,
And we can get the information back and decide it next month. That's what I say, I'm fine with this.
Who's going to
meeting.
provide the information if Heather is not included in it? If you don't want her to be
I said
involved?
the conversation we was having at this council meeting was to y'all, what I was talking about a while ago. I wasn't sitting here wanting to argue with the city clerk.
So she,
I don't think she was arguing.
Is
with you.
involved or
I
is
think she was
not?
answering your question.
Okay, well, all right, let me take charge of the meeting. Heather, is there anybody other than those 3 employees that you can think of that would be qualified that we have not paid that worked?
If you're, not that I'm aware of, no, sir, if you're considering part-time employees.
So we could determine how much they worked. I mean, we could look and see and report
You
back.
can see how many hours they've worked. I mean, they would have worked more than 480 hours during that time. I mean, all 3 would have been full-time employees at that time. And based on the resolution we did, they would be $5,000. But we also discussed that nobody would be double dipping from 2 municipalities.
That's correct, we did do that, and I remember that.
So I only did what I was asked to do.
Okay. Can I get some clarification on those 3 and the hours worked and report back at the next meeting, and let's just kind of, that way we don't, it's just cut and dry. We'll know what they worked and where they fall.
So
Okay.
what dates do you want from the,
Well, I mean, there's only 3 people.
but from October to October like everybody else was?
Right.
I mean, it's gonna be, they were full-time employees, but we can get you the total hours.
But I mean, they didn't work full-time during that time because all of them retired during that calendar year.
But from March to that December, I'll get you the total.
Okay. So the hours worked. That's all we need. Mr. Phillips, you have anything else?
Not at this time, Mayor.
Okay, moving on real quick. Payment of the bills.
I got that one.
Mr. Skelton's got it. Chief has asked for consideration of surplus a 2003 Ford Taurus.
I'll make a motion, I got that one.
Mr. Butler's got that one. C, consideration for calling for a list from the Mobile County Personnel Board for a full-time firefighter, and we're going to check the list and just see what is available there.
Yeah.
Mr. Butler's going to make that motion.
I said 2, didn't I?
You did.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, D is going to be tabled after we discuss that. E, discussion and consideration of purchasing an ad sign from the high school softball team in the amount of $85. I don't think anybody would have objection, but it's
I
on the
can
agenda.
take that one.
Ms. Reese, in a second.
I'll second.
Ms. Reese and Mr. Butler. Okay, I think on the, we discussed this. If y'all want to make it in the form of a motion, we can, but I think the opening was there, and we've already got the paperwork in progress. At the recommendation of the council, Mr. Matthew Childers to be moved from a, just a public service worker to a PSW1 from general labor. So,
I'll do that, Mayor.
Mr. Phillips,
I'll second it.
Mr. Little. Moving on to resolutions and ordinances. Ordinance 541, an ordinance to prohibit the operation of off-road vehicles on public property.
I'll make a motion.
I can second it.
Mr. Butler and Ms. Reese. Ordinance 542 to amend Ordinance 520, animal ordinance.
This will just be an introduction, right? I can introduce it.
Jason will introduce it and lay it over.
The animal ordinance, I did the cattle on them the same as what we had for the horses. We didn't really know the acreage. But we really didn't decide as to how you count if you want a cow and a calf, a nursing calf, is that one or two? Make a difference.
I think, didn't they say something about a pair, like if it was nursing and then once it's weaned, it needs its own acre or whatever?
Well, that's my question. You don't want it to be a nursing calf counts one or two.
I would say one, I guess is what the guy was saying, and then once it's older, it becomes two.
But once they wean them, but a yearling calf is usually said it's nurses for about 9 months. So you'll have, it'll, they get big pretty quick too. You sell them, they got 600 pounds, or maybe 7, they're still nurses. So,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
What do other places have? What do other ordinances have? Do we know, like, if it's standard for it?
I didn't really see any others. It was, just on livestock. But it's really a function of how many cows you want. You're gonna have cows, you're gonna have one bull and some cows. And you can either have 10 cows or 5 cows and calves.
Sure.
Calves,
Call it two then.
pardon?
Call it two then.
Well, that's up to y'all. I just wanted to point that out. Right now, it's prohibited.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Is that okay? C, Resolution 2021-12-01, introduction authorizing Civil Southeast LLC to make public application to ALDOT for roadway improvements.
You need somebody to bring that up?
Yeah, Mr. Phillips, that'd be,
I'll do it.
I'll second it.
and then the final thing would be the surplus, the Ford Taurus that we've discussed a couple times. That's D, Resolution 2021-12-02, surplus Ford Taurus. And it gives a VIN,
Make a
Mr.
motion.
Butler.
Yeah.
And
I'll second.
Mr. Little. I was volunteering you as you were speaking.
Mayor, I have a question on the off-the-road vehicles. Is they gonna be introduced tonight or voted on tonight?
Well,
I'm just confused.
it was introduced at the last one, so
It's
it's
be
been
voted on
It's been
tonight.
advertised, so it can be voted on tonight.
The-
I mean, if there's any corrections or anything you want to change,
Well,
or,
the question I had after reading all of it, the way I'm interpreting it, Chief, and tell me if I'm wrong, that no golf carts will be allowed on the streets, period, no matter if it's a licensed driver or not. Am I reading that the right way?
I'm sorry, Mr. Phillips, I just received a copy of it.
Me too, and that's what I say, I read through it about an hour ago, but it had them all listed together.
I think Mr. Minus would be a better person
Okay.
to answer that question.
Is that correct, Jay?
Yeah.
So you can be 65 years old and riding down Steel Creek Lodge and we go give him a ticket on a golf cart. And we wanted the youth to quit driving them golf carts on the road.
Well, my understanding was that the problem was that we had a lot of youths that were, the state law already prohibits the golf carts on the road. And what we were trying to address was to make the parents responsible if they were not keeping their kids from
Right.
riding the golf carts. We weren't trying to enable the parents to be able to.
Yeah, I just want to be sure I'm reading it right and that I'm correct what I'm saying.
But it's like I said, I guess at the last meeting, it's gonna be mostly the discretion of the police officers. I mean, they might be that 65-year-old don't need to be on that golf cart either. But I mean, you know what I mean.
I do that.
You know
but-
where I'm coming from, but
Yeah.
a responsible, person driving a golf cart, I would hope that would take care of itself.
And as Mr. Minus noted, it's already illegal,
Yeah,
and we've been using our discretion this entire time.
so,
So I don't see that changing.
And just to remind you, everyone, it's, the counties that have it, like Baldwin County, and that's where you see a lot of it, they've got the exemptions to where it is legal if you do the street requirements to make it street legal. So we don't have that option here. The kicker that this brings in is the language that the parents can be responsible for their minor children operate. And I thought that's what we were trying to capture.
Okay, that's what I said, I just read it like that, and I want to be sure I was understanding it. So,
All right, well, I mean, it's gonna come up then, I mean, so if it's gonna be voted on, or if there's any other questions, I mean, let's either iron it out, or,
Well, I'm understanding there's nothing we can do about that because of the way the state of Alabama has the law.
Correct.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the minor thing is you're anticipating a violation. You're experiencing violations with minors, and you have nothing to cite them for. Isn't that right, Chief?
those are all the items that's on the agenda for tonight, so, if there's nothing else,
Okay.
it's 6:42, that gives us 18 minutes. We can stretch real quick, and hopefully we'll have a really quick and easy council meeting tonight. So thank all of you, and, we'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks. You ready? Foam off of the thing, but call the Satsuma City Council regular meeting to order. I'd like to start the meeting as we start all meetings with a word of prayer. So in just a moment, I want to ask everyone to stand and then remain standing for the pledge when the prayer is off. If you would, if you have a cell phone or anything, remember to silence it. And so if you would, please stand. Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you help us tonight. Bless us, help us to address the needs of the citizens of our city. We also pray for those in our community, Lord, that have suffered sickness and illness over this past year. We ask that you bless us in these holidays and help them to be very nice and very good for Satsuma and this whole community. It's this and all things we pray in your precious name. Amen. Amen. Pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Someone moved the flag on us and threw me and Mr. Skelton off here. We'd like to run into each other, so thank you. Heather, a roll call, please.
Councilmember Little,
Present.
Councilmember Butler,
Present.
Councilmember Skelton.
Here.
Councilmember Reese,
Present.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Barlow.
Here. Please let the record reflect that all being present, including the city clerk, the attorney, and the police and fire chief. The next thing on the agenda is the approval of our agenda for tonight's meeting.
There were no additions requested, so I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Right, we are going to table that one item D, correct, Jason?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
With that exception, second.
motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Little to approve the agenda as distributed. With the one correction, we're going to table item D. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay. Moving on, approval of the minutes from our past meeting of November the 16th, 2021, our regular meeting.
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton and seconded by Mr. Little to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of November the 16th, 2021. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Okay, I'll let it show that passed. Moving on, recognitions. I don't think we have anything on the agenda for recognitions tonight. And visitors, we did have a couple of people with us tonight in our pre-council, but they said they had nothing for the meeting. Sir, did you have any business to come before the?
No, sir, just
Okay, well, you had just come in just as the meeting was starting, so we didn't want to close the door on anyone just because you might have been a minute late. Okay, with no visitors tonight, our meeting is moving on pretty quickly. Moving to the mayor's report. I just took a few minutes in our pre-council, and I'd like to briefly just say again, on behalf of the city of Satsuma, me and all the council members, thanks to everyone who has taken part in our community over the last couple of months. We've had many, many events. We had the municipal dinner that was hosted by the city of Satsuma for the elected officials toward the end of November here. This past week, we've, most people have seen the decorations that here at the City Hall. Thank the ladies, the Public Works guys for helping out with that. Mr. Little's wife and daughter came up and helped the other day. They were both very good help. Tiffany and the ladies at the library have that looking good. The water board, Steve and those employees over there have really cleaned up and made that place look real Christmassy this year. So then we had the Grinch Breakfast was this past Saturday morning, and I think it was a sellout for two different ones, wasn't it, Mr. Phillips? Is your daughter?
Yes, Mayor, there was a total of 700 tickets sold.
Well, that was really good. So I've heard a lot of good comments on that. They sure had the lodge looking nice. And later on that that afternoon, we had the Christmas parade here, and for those that took part in the Christmas parade, the chiefs, I thank y'all for that. Mr. Walters, I think the SCDO had several booths at the Baldwin Square, and it appeared that that was a success this year. We had a lot of people there, so.
Mr. Davis, who's the president of SCDO, said that's the most vendors we've had at any SCDO event.
We're good. So we're real happy to see that. Just moving on real quickly on down, we discussed our grant writer, Kara Stallman. We table that. We'll bring it back up. We'll probably discuss this a little bit for Mr. Phillips and Mr. Skelton at the Water Board on Monday night for our Water Board meeting. Just letting y'all others know that the Water Board is next Monday night. Civil Southeast is continuing to work on the sidewalk projects. They were here last week. So hopefully those projects will be underway by the middle part of next year again. Last Thursday night, we had the planning board meeting. No real activity to report from the board. Like I said, we do have several homes under construction now, as Tom indicated to us. Mr. Butler, you going to give the fire report? Mr. Little, did you want to give the senior report from last month? You want me just to go ahead and just, our senior report last month, we delivered 793 meals for the month of November. Senior van made 45 various medical appointment and trips for our citizens. So another active month there for them. That's good. The Steel Creek, Allison, you want to discuss that, or you going to address that any further in your, when it comes around about trying to, for the committee to get?
I was just
y'all
going to be
together?
brief. Yes, sir.
Okay, then I won't go any further on that. The only thing I didn't discuss tonight, and we've discussed this beforehand, so hopefully I don't think y'all will mind me mentioning this. We are looking at creating another position in the office. I would like to reassign some of those duties, and the specific one we're looking at tonight is for Trish to move her from currently where she's at into more of an office-type position that would be actually the type work that she might be doing instead of what I think she's been classified, which has basically been labor. So,
Would that be assistant city clerk?
no,
No. Okay.
it would not. But I would like to move her into a position because we can't just put somebody in labor and leave them at that position.
What position would it be? Or do we have to go through the personnel board to
Yes, we
create
would.
one?
What was the position, the title? A clerical aid one. Would maybe a promotion in it. It'd be more along the lines of what she does.
Would that take the place of the assistant city
No, it would
clerk
not.
position? No, in addition to?
Yes.
Okay.
So I am going to look at opening that position up. So if y'all would like to look over that, I will put that on the agenda for the next meeting so y'all can see those duties. And I think Tricia does a good job, and I would like to see her have a chance to move into a job that's, you know, a recognized type position under the personnel board. That's all I have. Mr. Little?
Mayor, I didn't mention a few things in pre-council. We did some repair work down at the trash ramp where we clean our sanitation trucks. We worked on some different things, some lines that was clogged. We grinder pump, some, you know, a few different things that cost a little money, but we've got everything back up and running, and hopefully, you know, which it just helps us keep our vehicles clean and looking good. And I think that was a good idea. And the guys got that done this week and got it back up and going, so. Also, enjoyed Saturday myself. I know there was a lot of things to try to attend, and it was a great day. Thanks also to our Public Works. I know they was moving around from place to place. I have had a few people ask me, Mr. Phillips, just see what the availability of our nativity scene. Do you know if that's, if we talked about that, or
I
if we can
haven't heard
get
it
that
mentioned.
up, or?
I mean, we can check on, like I said, I haven't even heard it mentioned.
I just had a few people ask me, was we gonna try to get that up, and I said, knew we was shorthanded, that type of thing, but it looks real nice in the square, if we may be able.
I'm sure we could make that
If we
happen.
may be able to, but, I told them I would check on that. Other than that, I'm good, Mayor.
Mr. Little, I'll get with Mr. Elmore on that in the morning and find out where it's at, because you are the second person that's asked about it, and I didn't know where it's been moved to or anything, but thank you for bringing that up, Randy. And I appreciate the help for your wife and your daughter the other night. They were very, very nice of them to come up. Mr. Butler?
Yeah, in the fire department, we got the calls for the month of November. We got 63 calls for EMS. We got 23 calls for the fire department, for the fire calls. Mutual aid, we got 9 calls for a total of 86 calls for the month. And I'll miss the council meeting on December the 1st because of the holidays with my family. But anyhow, I want to say, everybody, that y'all have a Merry Christmas and New Year's, and I hope everybody is real safe. And other than that, I'm through.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. Moving along, Mr. Skelton.
Just only had one question. Wanted to ask this administration. I know in the past, for any city employees, specifically police officers that have taken EMT, I know once they pass registry, we've reimbursed them in the past. And I wanted to see if we were still planning to do that with this admin. Okay. That's all I had for now. I just wanted to make sure that we were still good to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, for any type of specialized training that people go out and get, I would like for us to. But EMT is certainly a very vital thing in a small organization like ours. Police and fire work hand in hand a lot. So yes, sir, no problem with that.
Appreciate that.
Ms. Reese?
Yes, sir. We had, earlier in the pre-council, formed a committee for the Still Creek Lodge renovations to include Randy, Bubba, and myself, and Tom Breon. And I'd like to ask Trish to help with that. And we need some people with some vision. So hopefully we'll be able to get together rather quickly and put together something that will be nice for people to be able to rent, because Still Creek is a moneymaker, and we want people to feel like they are at an actual event facility, that's super nice for them, and have updated fixtures and whatnot. So hopefully we'll have something to present to you guys next time.
Okay.
I was wondering if there was an update on the tennis court resurfacing. Heather, do you know?
No, I reached out to the tennis company last week, and she was gonna have Jeff give us a call. He had been out sick, so
Okay.
I have not heard back from him.
I know, okay, I know when we talked to the gentleman, he said ideally he wanted the work to be done in October, and we are in December, so I don't know how we can not hold them accountable, but, I mean, do we move forward with them? I mean, or do they have a timeline for us? Something, because I know the citizens are going to want to know. Okay. And Mayor, you mentioned that you were going to have Goodwin Mills and Kaywood follow through with giving us a report on and a timeline of how the Go Mesa project was going, because that is.
If you would like, I'll ask them to come to the next meeting.
Yes,
How's that?
please. Yes, so we can have some kind of idea, because I know when I look forward to hearing what's going to be happening, and I want to pass that information along, because I know everybody's probably excited about it and looking forward to the new things that are going to be down at the launch. Also, side note, are you aware of any truth behind the rumors that Satsuma is going to annex Creola?
Well, there will be no annex. Yes, there's been a lot of talk in recent months. I understand there's been a petition going around up there. I have not seen it, where people have signed it and have asked that Satsuma and Creola look at maybe joining or merging or something in the future. So,
I mean, I didn't know if there was anything that you maybe had started talking with Creola about that we weren't aware of that might be happening, that we would need to get a plan together.
I've told you several times, I've been asked by people in Creola if we would be interested, and I think it's possibly a good idea that we explore that, at least be open to look at what the future might hold.
Would that be where we would sit down all together in a meeting with some kind of plan? I mean, I'm not sure how that gets started, an annexation.
Well, first of all, I think that, Creola is a city. I would like to find out from their citizens, and I can't speak for them. Do they want to stay a city, or would they be interested in joining another city? And I don't know the answer to that. I think that would be something that they would have to answer before we would be in a position to say what we could do. But if they are interested in doing something, yes, I'm open to listening. I would think that would be all of our jobs to do that, to look what's good for the future.
I didn't know if we would ask the Satsuma residents first how they felt about it with, the school system being as small as it is currently. And we're already taking outside students. I know that's a separate school board question, but, we need to make sure that we're ready.
Well, I was asked, I think as you well know, in that text, that I think the school board should be prepared for growth even here in our city, because I think there's going to be, well, if you drive around, you'll see there's a lot of houses being built right now. And I think that when we get that water and sewer to the west side of the interstate, you're going to see even more homes being built.
Well, that would be from growing within Satsuma to taking over Creola. That would be a huge growth, like an unexpected growth that you probably couldn't plan on if you didn't know about it.
I would think most of them children's already going to school here.
You know that for a fact?
No, not for a
Okay.
fact.
I guess we can't really say that, though, without knowing.
But I know this for a fact, 14 years ago, we had 1,500 grade kids at Robert D. Lee. Our whole school was only 1,600 now. So we do have the room for the growth.
Currently. Okay, so next question. I feel like I'm on a news press conference. We have the need for court clerk, assistant city clerk, building inspector, public works supervisor, park supervisor, and a parks employee. Those are just the ones that I know about. What are the plans to fill those much-needed positions in the city to help us grow?
Well, I hope that we can continue to look at, as you well know, because you went to one of the personnel board meetings where you heard all of us complaining that we're not getting applicants. And if you would have attended the city-county meeting last week, you would have heard all of the cities in the county saying that the hiring and all of these projects have been difficult for all the municipalities.
Well, most of these have been open for a year, and those are key positions that we need to put somebody in, because, Tom's not here anymore, but he's, I guess, limited on hours, and he was only trying to help out, and I know James feels the same way, and I know Miss Vicky is here, but we need people, I guess, that are going to come in and work and be long-term. So, and we also, I guess, could call for a list for parks employees, because I have one guy. Can we pull a list for the parks employees?
Sure we can.
Okay.
And we have tried to have somebody with your guy over there, and we've also made sure that you've had a couple of the inmates in parks every day. If you've come by, you would have seen those every day.
Well, I think we need a supervisor over there that can coordinate things, not just a laborer. The gentleman that was just promoted, he was a laborer before, and I don't think that that person would be suitable to be the supervisor over the department. We would need to get a different list.
James and Travis are doing a pretty good job right now, too, though. So I'm real happy with what they're doing.
Okay, so who do I, now that Crystal's not here, who do I call if I need something? I mean, do I come to you?
How about that?
I come to you,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, for anything.
You sure can.
Who would be my point of contact in the Parks Department?
Well, if you're
Like-
talking about who you've given orders to do something, that would be me. I'm the one that carries out the day-to-day assignments.
So don't talk to any employee in the city, just come to you.
But if you want to give orders to them, I would.
Well, I don't
prefer-
give orders, but I want to communicate. I'm the liaison between what the city can do and what the community wants. So, I mean, I spoke to Terry Lynn before. That would be the point of contact. I would talk to James. I would talk to Tom. I'm not forbid from speaking to the employees that carry out the, day-to-day activities.
You're not forbidden, but yes, ma'am, I'm the one that gives the directions to the employees what their day-to-day assignments are.
So if I need somebody to touch up the restroom, you want me to call you to ask somebody
You
to
can
touch up
send
the
me an
restroom?
email or text. You sure can, and I will certainly make sure that it's put on their list.
What should I expect the response time to be?
I don't know. I think I usually respond pretty quickly.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Phillips?
Kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know we was through.
Well, it's the same runaround answer as we get every time, so.
I don't even know why we have an agenda. We never stick to it, but anyway,
Keep your comments like that, Ms. Reese, okay? If-
That's the same answer you've been giving us for a year, and there's been nothing, no update other than blaming the personnel board for not having any employees in the city. I just think we need answers, not the personnel board doesn't give us a good list.
Mr. Phillips, you have the floor.
Mayor, on our day-to-day operations, the job at Daphne V Street, the leak in the culvert was repaired, the manhole box, and the repair of the sidewalk was done. That was finished up pretty quickly. The leaf vacuum, the repairs on this almost completed. We blew the head gasket on it, so we hope to have it back in operations here pretty quick. We cleaned all the city hall restrooms, public works building. Public works generator has been serviced and new batteries put in it, and we cleaned ditches on Maple, First Street, and North Vaughn Drive. Picked up paper on 043 and 43. And, in our day-to-day operations on the little things. But I would like to comment, all y'all have been commenting about Saturday. In all the years I've been here in Satsuma, I can't recall a day to where I've seen more people in the city of Satsuma at different events. It was really, really a good day. I do want to thank Trish, Randy Little, his wife, and all the volunteers for the Grinch. People don't realize that there was probably 40 people there volunteering their time that day to make that event happen. And it was a record set out, and it'll help the city. What monies were raised will go to the SCDO this year, for projects they want to do. The booth at Baldwin Square, it was sold out today. When I went through there wasn't room to walk. The Christmas parade was great, and I just want to thank everybody, especially my daughter Jennifer, because of the time and effort she put into making that Breakfast with the Grinch happen for the city of Satsuma. It put us on the map around Mobile County of them type events happening, and I just want to say thanks to all of them. Public Works too, like I say, they were a big help that day. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay. Moving along, items for discussion and/or consideration. A, payment of the bills.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $48,621.05.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Skelton, seconded by Mr. Little to pay the bills in this set amount. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. B, discussion and consideration to surplus a 2003 Ford Taurus VIN, I don't think I'm going to read it all that out, and dispose of it on govdeals.com.
I make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Mr. Butler has made a motion, seconded by Mr. Skelton, to surplus the said vehicle. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
C, consideration for calling for a list from Mobile County Personnel Board for full-time firefighter / EMT.
I made a motion, we agree.
Second.
Mr. Butler made the motion, seconded by Mr. Skelton again. Call for the list for the Personnel Board for firefighter EMT. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. D, discussion and consideration for a contract with Kara Stallman for grant writing. At her request, we agreed to table this in pre-council, so
Make a motion, Mayor, that we table this till next meeting.
Second.
motion by Mr. Little, seconded by Mr. Skelton to table the said contract with Kara Stallman until the next meeting. Any discussion?
I might have spoke too quick, but will we be ready for that next meeting?
I think if we address it at the water board Monday night, get something, we should be able to come back. Because, I mean, what her offer was what y'all told me to offer, and she had agreed to it.
Okay, that's fine. Carry on.
Okay, all those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
E, discussion and consideration of purchasing an ad or sign for the Satsuma High School softball team in the amount of $85.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Allison, seconded by Mr. Butler to buy an ad for $85. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
F, consideration, I think this should be, it says hiring, but it would be promoting, wouldn't it? Matthew Childers from a laborer to a public service worker one.
Yes, sir, you just have to click hire, I think that's fine.
Higher. I'll put that in the form of a motion, Mayor.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Little to hire Matthew Childers as public service worker one. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to resolutions, ordinances, orders, and other business. A, Ordinance 541, an ordinance to prohibit the operation of off-road vehicles on public property.
I make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Butler and seconded by Ms. Reese.
I'd like a roll call vote, Mayor.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I was going to ask you, but you started.
Councilmember Little,
Yes.
Councilmember Butler,
Yes.
Councilmember Skelton,
Yes.
Councilmember Reese.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Mayor Gordon.
Yes. All right, let it show you passed unanimous. B, Ordinance 542, to amend Ordinance 520, the Animal Ordinance.
Make a motion to introduce ordinance 542.
Second.
Ordinance 542 will be an ordinance to amend 520, and it's being introduced tonight on a motion made by Mr. Skelton and seconded by Ms. Reese. Is there any discussion on this?
Mayor, do we need to say now, do we like it, not like it, or is this the time, or when
We're
it?
just introducing it tonight, so if you want to make any changes, or we can bring it up at the next meeting and make the changes at that time. All you do is introducing it tonight. It's not going, it's not going into effect tonight. So
Okay.
we'll just. The ordinance was only introduced tonight. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor signify by aye.
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 Those opposed. The ordinance was introduced. Resolution 2021-12-01, introduction, introducing Civil Southeast LLC to make public application to AlDOT for roadway improvements.
I'll make a motion to introduce it.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Phillips, seconded by Mr. Little to introduce said resolution.
I have a question about that. Would that be something where they would give us, they would prepare the application and then we would go out for bid on contractors if there needed to be work done?
This is the Reinvest Alabama grant that you submitted before the end of the year. And it's voted on by the state in January or February.
Okay, so that's handled by them then? Okay, I wasn't sure if this was, what is it? Rebuild Alabama, is that part of
Yeah,
that?
that's the gas tax money
Okay, okay,
that they allot each year for a grant.
I got you, okay,
Doesn't affect what we get.
okay, thank you.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Phillips and seconded by Mr. Little. I think the discussion is now clarified. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Final item we have tonight on the agenda is Resolution 2021-12-02, and that's the surplus to 2003 Ford Taurus with the said VIN to put up for auction.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Butler and seconded by Mr. Little to sell the said vehicle. I think we've discussed this one before. There's no opposition. Any other discussion on it? All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
We have addressed all the things that was on the agenda tonight, or that was covered in pre-council and or on the agenda. Is there any other business that needs to come before the council prior to adjournment? If there's no other business, 7:32, we had a quick meeting tonight, so everyone have a nice holiday as they prepare for it, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second to adjourn. We are adjourned.